And now we are moving on to unisex apparel. For our next session, I'm pleased to introduce Carlos Jimenez. He's the founder of Kilt Plus, and Ketty Pillet, VP of Marketing Americas for Lectra. As a direct-to-consumer startup, Kilt Plus uses 3D and digital technology to save costs during product development. Join me as we dive into Kilt Plus case story to learn more about how advanced technology has helped build an inclusive DTC business and how Kilt Plus' new strategy has allowed them to connect the dots from on-demand design to production.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session. I'm Ketty Pillet, the Vice President of Marketing at Lectra Americas, and today I'm honored and delighted to be with Carlos Jimenez. Hi, Carlos.
Hi, Ketty.
You're designer and founder of Kilt Plus. Could you maybe introduce yourself, tell us where you're coming, and we'll talk about kilts, obviously, but just to get to know you.
Definitely. So thank you, Ketty. I'm Carlos Jimenez, and I was actually Mexican. I was born there. There's only 5% of Scottish in me, according to Ancestry.com, but that's not very relevant in the end. That's not the most important part. No. So yeah, I mean, I was born in Mexico, and I did go to school for fashion design. I've been in this industry for over 17 years in different ways, either as technical designer or, most on the technology side. Some of you might actually recognize me from some trade shows because, I worked for Lectra for a few years. Now I'm also starting this business, right? Kilt Plus, a line of kilts for anybody.
Wow, that sounds amazing, especially as, well, inclusivity is a top topic nowadays. And so how did you come with these ideas, with this brand, Kilt Plus? And also, it's a direct-to-consumer business, so which is super ambitious. So how did you come to this idea of brand and to go direct-to-consumer?
That was very interesting. I mean, I think, as I mentioned, I grew up in a very traditional, conservative country and, somewhat family. So, you would never expect somebody like me wearing a skirt or a kilt, but it happened. And actually, a few years ago, I started wearing one, then the second kilt. And part of it was, trying to wear it to express some sense of individuality, and part of it also because it was very comfortable and, very versatile garment. I was dressing it up, dressing it down, at the beginning wearing it at home, eventually going more out. And then from there, a few friends, men, women, non-binary, anybody was asking me, can you make me one? So I started with one. I did a second one with my, home sewing machine. And eventually it was like, wait a second. I actually think that I can probably make a business out of it, right? The most important part for me was sort of to walk away from the traditional kilt, right? The reason why I made my own was because at the time when I started, working on this, there were very few options online, or either with, ready-to-wear brands, or, obviously they were luxury, but quite non-affordable, right? So for me, it was a matter of experimenting also with new materials, maybe more like cotton and some more modern plaids, or sometimes maybe not, like not a plaid, but maybe eventually a print. So I just wanted to, experiment with all of this. And as I mentioned, when I was researching for or trying to buy some for myself, there were no options, right? Or very few options, I should say. Either very traditional or utilitarian, but nothing that was a little bit more fashion forward, or, that had twists that I was looking for. And, that's how this came to be. Why I decided to go direct to consumer, it was just a matter of, it was going to be a small operation. And I, thought at the time that using social media platforms where I can actually reach directly to the people that I wanted to wear my kilts, it was going to be an easy task, right? So that's why I decided to go for it. Not that I'm not open to eventually move to different channels.
Right. And as you explained that you started a couple of units, moving to direct consumer models, more industrialized, more volume. how did you manage to use your design, product development process, maybe including the technology, social media? You already mentioned e-commerce, it's already very technology oriented, but which technology did you use to go the next step?
So that's an interesting question. Again, given that I've worked in technology for such a long time and in fashion, I've been in this business for over 17 years, and I thought I knew everything about design and product development. And I came to realize that I don't, especially I didn't know enough about, the scale of the company that I was starting, right? So, for me, technology was definitely crucial. The design portion was easy. I know how to sketch. I know how to make a beautiful illustration to express the idea. From terms of choosing the fabrics, that was also very easy, right? In terms of just picking beautiful fabric. But then the challenge came to how can I make sure that, the design is going to look good in, my range of sizes and the kind of style that I was trying to come up with, but also how the fabrics that I wanted to choose were going to drape and look in terms of the, the scale of the plaid in different models, right? So that's where I use as much technology as possible. Obviously, I did create a pattern using 2D CAD, but the most useful thing was definitely 3D, right? And especially me as a small brand, I didn't have time to wait for the fabric to arrive. I also didn't have the budget. My budget was limited. I couldn't buy all the fabric that I wanted. So, through the use of 3D, I was able to see the garment as quickly as possible and at least see a mock-up of what each of the fabric that I was choosing was going to look, each of the colorways. Right. And, as some of you already know, it was happening in real time. So I could make those decisions, right? Especially when I was running out of time just by getting my first products. We all know the delays on getting fabric in and then samples in. So me being able to visualize that, how it draped, how it looked, and, the cohesiveness of my small collection was going to look. And that's how eventually I ended up using technology, at least for the design and development portion of it. Again, when it came to sizes, I obviously was able to see a wider range because obviously when you order samples, you normally get only, maybe one. And again, it's the most expensive thing to order when you're starting the development. But when I wanted to see how, maybe I wanted to make a longer version for a larger size or not, just making those decisions earlier was crucial for me to use this technology.
Right, and you've been mentioning 3D or to visualize really the fitting. It's not always easy to do a perfect fitting, especially as, well, you talk about inclusivities, maybe different body shapes and so forth. How did 3D help you to maybe see what was wrong or in which direction to go? Has this been helpful?
Oh, definitely. Right. Like it's at this point, it's almost the only cost efficient way to see if, every size is going to fit all the consumers that you want to reach. Right. So that was very easy because as I graded the pattern, originally I graded in more sizes than I could afford to manufacture. So, but I was still able to choose different mannequins, right? More specifically with AccuMark, I was able to choose from different body shapes, different different morphologies and sizes, and I was able to see how the style was going to remain consistent from one body shape to another.
That sounds amazing. And you mentioned having the fabric, which is not always easy, especially, well, with inflation, supply chain disruptions. How did you manage to go through with this first collection?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was lucky enough, quote unquote, I live in New York, so I was able to, visit the fabric providers easier. Most of the fabrics that we're using are coming from overseas, but still, lucky me, I didn't get so much disruption in terms of fabric and trims. But again, only when I was ready to order, because of the preview that I saw, I placed it. So at least I shortened that. to me, the biggest challenge at that moment was not sourcing, it was really manufacturing. Especially because I wanted to keep the manufacturing as close as possible to my end consumer, which at this point is in the US.
And so you've been on your own through all this journey from design, product development, using 2D, 3D sourcing, and then, yes, manufacturing and producing to be able to ship.
Yeah.
Could you tell us more about this journey? It sounds like an interesting journey.
It was a journey, and I don't know if people here have enough time to listen about a manufacturing journey. But you know, when I started this, I had three main challenges with that. First one is, you know, again, as a startup and a direct-to-consumer brand, my volumes were going to be pretty low. Right. Especially I wanted to make sure that this was going to work out. So it was difficult to find somebody that was going to take on my volumes locally, or at least at a cost-efficient model. Second, it was kind of complicated to find somebody that was going to be able to, you know, do the home matching and keep it cost-efficient for them, right? So they weren't losing money, but also find somebody that had also the know-how, right? Internally, this is not masks, this is not t-shirts, you know, are relatively easy to manufacture, but this was more about just the matching was a little bit of an issue for the manufacturer. Most of what they were doing was doing it by hand. So I could either find one or the other. I think the third challenge that I didn't know I was going to face, again, because I was so used to work on more like bigger brands and retailers, was the SKUs or size situation, right? Originally, I had big plans to make my product in as many sizes as possible. So, you know, it could fit a wider range of consumer. But when I started contacting each of the different manufacturers in the US, they said, sure, choose 5 sizes. You know, otherwise it was going to become more expensive. So I realized how limited that was going to be. I still decided to go for it, but in the end, you know, I'm lucky happy to report that I did find a manufacturer that at least, you know, met 2 of my criteria, right? I still had the issue. I mean, they were able to cut my product in a relatively timely manner and, you know, assemble it in a high quality way, but I still had the issue of the only 5 sizes. So, I mean, I still went with the collection that the way it was supposed to be, but this definitely opened my mind on how can I make this product even more size inclusive or sizeless, let's say. How can I make it so, for instance, you know, the closure, I'm using buttons right now, but can I use something different? You know, snaps, magnets, whatever it is. So if I'm either going to a sizeless model, or if not, maybe a size that is going to fit a wider range of consumer, right? So they just, you know, keep me thinking, how can I make this? And also, how can I make my product easier to manufacture? I was feeling the pain of my manufacturer as he was going through the whole matching process. So just trying to think, you know, how can I make it so it's easier for them to, you know, put the markers together or just in general produce faster. So in the end, I get the product, you know, in a faster time and in the end, my end consumer as well, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of growth and opportunity there. And you know, in the end, we were able to launch.
It's been a great turnout to take this challenge as a real opportunity to be more inclusive. That's for sure. And well, it's really seems it's been a journey. So overall, what are the lessons you learned from this journey, or maybe some other steps you want to take for the next steps of your journey?
Yeah, you know, when we finally launched, I was like, this is it. You know, we're ready to go. We're going to be so successful, and you know, then I realized there was another hurdle that I didn't know I was going to be facing, or maybe I kind of had an idea. So it was more about, you know, getting the word out. I mean, social media is a great platform, but how can I convey the message of, you know, what we're trying to do here, right? What kind of consumer is going to get this product? So Yes, we got some influencers to wear it. Yes, we got a couple celebrities wearing the product, but I realized that my consumer didn't see themselves in the product, not because they didn't like it. Actually, they were, messaging me on Instagram and so, but in the end, they say, oh yeah, it's great that Brad Pitt is wearing the skirts, and it's great that, you chose a hot model, or that this celebrity is wearing your product. I cannot pull it off. I wish I could. I love the product, but I don't know how to wear it. I don't know if I can actually go out on the street and feel as confident as everybody else. So then I realized, maybe we should be in the business of giving people self-confidence. But in the end, I thought it was, now the challenge is, and what I'm learning is just how to make it so my end consumer can see themselves before they purchase the product. And I'm sure there's, we know that there's technology that could help, right? I mean, going back to 3D, definitely if they could see themselves prior to buying the product wearing the kilt, and also see how they could style it prior to buying, I'm sure it could be a great solution. I'm just like thinking out loud, and, maybe I should sell my product in the metaverse before I sell it in physical, so they can actually dress their avatar, go out there and feel confident in the virtual world, and eventually build enough confidence to come out and wear it, right? So I'm sure there's different ways, right? And eventually, again, I want to go more into like a size-less or size-inclusive model, where, everybody and anybody can wear it. I mean, obviously, producing on demand would be ideal, but with that, we just need to, make sure that we're bringing enough, micro factories or more manufacturers in the US that could actually do it. Being in this industry, I kind of know what could be done, but I'm sure you even have better ideas on how, companies like mine could be able to manufacture here and reach a wider audience faster.
Yeah, well, absolutely. There is a lot to say. Maybe the first step is to come to the Lectra Innovation Center in New York City. We have a full micro factory there, just showing how to go from design, 3D development, right through even print and cuts in less than 1 hour, completely customized. And I think it's a great way that Lectra can support all of the brands, the new, the upcoming, and the larger one within this business for a longer time, with some scalable solutions. And one of them, which sounds like for your manufacturers, as you mentioned, struggling with matching, would be perfect, fashion and demand.
Yeah.
As you can see here on the screen, this offer as fashion and demand can help, and it's really good with very efficient with matching to save fabrics, make a perfect quality with a perfect matching. And going through the e-commerce website where you can have different options, go through customizations as you had different patterns of fabrics, different colorways as well. Being able to have this all integrated into a QMark with your different patterns, different visuals, different sizes, if you want to. And then once the order is made, Fashion and Demand is able to pick up on the order, manage it. You can have different orders with different fabrics, different colors, but at the end of the day, the system will put together what is from the same fabric to make it efficient with the perfect matching. I think your manufacturers would definitely be interested in that.
I'm crossing my fingers they will eventually.
And then be able to do up to the cutting, uploading, and sewing, and all of that being completely integrated. So no error, all the data is managed. And then even, I would say, maybe further step, as I hear you said you had buttons, maybe snaps, maybe some magnets or some different tools. It's having PLM solutions like Cubics, so we'll be able to manage all your data, whether it's a PIM, a DAM, manage the collections all together, help with some collaborations within your growing team, your manufacturers, and all the different people working together. It's a teamwork.
Yeah, so win-win for everybody.
that would be great. We're already running out of time, but I would be happy to discuss. You can reach out to me, reach out to Carlos as well if you're looking for more information, or if you're interested to go maybe online on Kilt Plus and be the next trend generation. I think you take the posting on Instagrams.
Yes, I would love that. Actually, that's what I'm encouraging everybody, right? Like I said, join the Kilt revolution, as I'm saying. And yeah, if you have any questions, please let us know. Contact us at either Lectra or Kilt Plus. And in the end, Ketty, I think there's definitely a future for it, and the technology is there. We just need to, get the voice out, and hopefully more designers and manufacturers can implement this kind of technology.
Thank you, Carlos, for these words, and thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day.
Gracias.
Au revoir.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, Lectra and Carlos, my fellow Mexican. Thank you so much. I know that Carlos is going to be hanging around for a little bit after this session. So if you do have any questions for him, you can put them in the comments. I know someone's asking for the name of the software you were using. So please ask more questions and he will happily answer them.